Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. If you're with us here on Twitch, this is our third episode on Twitch. And if you're here with us on YouTube, you've been with us for a very, very, very long time. So, what's going on? I'm Dark Avenger C86. Diagonal from me, now I got to get used to this because I'm on the bottom this time, is Brant Fowler across the board.
What's up, everybody?
Above me is Kat Kamakuno.
Hey, guys, what's up?
There they are. And then to this side of me, I knew it was going to be mirrored, is Mike, Spider Slayer Comic Corner 2.0.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
And welcome to the finale, the year finale, our last episode of 2019. We're going to be talking about comic book news. We're going to be talking about top 5. And we're going to be talking a lot of comic book goings on this week. There are a lot of books this week. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kat so we can start off with the news.
All right. So we are going to start off with, let's do the media news this week. So we're going to first start talking about the Stargirl full trailer. So I know you guys wanted us to talk about the other trailer, but nothing really came out from it. This actually is a trailer. So I've been looking forward to the show. I'm a big Stargirl fan, and I mean, it looks like your generic CW show, though, which is definitely worrisome. And I know it's going to air on the CW as well as DC Universe, but I'm going to check it out. It looks cool. It looks like it's definitely faithful to the comic book. So what's his face is in it? One of the Wilson brothers.
Luke Wilson.
Yeah, Luke Wilson.
Yeah. And Community guy.
Yeah,
Joe McHale. Yeah. That was weird. It's like, man, is this a comedy? We got Luke Wilson and Joel McHale. It's just weird. Yeah, it did definitely have that CW feel, which I agree with you. I'm a little concerned about that. So hopefully, it's a little bit better than your normal fare. We'll just have to see, though. We didn't get a whole lot in this trailer. Just kind of, I found the staff. I'm the new Stargirl. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it did. It looked very generic. It was just like, hey, I'm gonna change it to Stargirl now. I mean, it looked cool. It looks a little different because you're not used to seeing this particular hero on the screen. And the only thing I can say is that, if people don't know anything about Stargirl, they might want to tune into this and find out about this character. So it could be a cool thing.
So Tevye asks, wasn't this Stargirl supposed to be on DC Universe? So it's going to be on both. So I think it's going to air later on the CW. So it'll air first on DC Universe, then air on the CW. And then Sweet says, I'm not excited for this Stargirl show, but because it's a comic show, I'll watch it. I mean, you got to give it a try, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And again, Tevye says, why is it on CW? So they're just trying to get it out to people to try to promote DC Universe, just like how Doom Patrol is also on HBO Max.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're going to air it on both places.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, I don't know what that means for the platform of DC Universe.
Yeah, I know. It's like we don't have no confidence in DC Universe. We're
show
all our content everywhere else.
No one's watching it. No one's
exactly
buying it. And so that's why they're trying to get the stuff elsewhere,
Well, the DVD sales are going pretty well, I guess, because Titan Season 2 is coming out in March now. They actually upped when it releases. Instead of a year from, they're doing it like a couple months.
Or they're begging that the DVD sales will do well, and that's why they're trying to do it early. Again, I don't know the numbers, so we're just talking, but
yeah, we're getting a lot of comments about Mike's glasses tonight. We were talking about them before the show, yeah.
And the thing is like we're gonna be talking about that Superman comic before, and I know I made the thing. It's just like, oh yeah, can't you tell that like it's Clark Kent and Superman are the same person? So like, look. Do I look that much different? You know what I'm saying? It's just funny. I wear a hat anyway, but it was totally done on accident. Like I took a shower and then I accidentally took out my contacts and I forgot the show was tonight. And I was like, well, screw this. I'm not putting back my contacts. I'm going to just leave my glasses on. So no contacts for me today. Superman glasses.
And speaking of Superman, we do have the Red Son animated movie trailer that came out. I honestly skimmed through this trailer. I like the look of it, but I've never been interested in the Red Sun storyline. I do like Cold War storylines, but I don't know. This one never interested me. So
yeah, I'm in the same exact boat with you on this one, Kat. I was never interested in Red Sun, and this trailer didn't make me interested. It was just like, oh, it's another animated Superman movie.
I think I'm less interested because of this trailer. Like, I was like kind of looking forward to the movie just because, like, oh, it's a big story and like it could be different animation, but the trailer just kind of bored me.
Yeah,
I just shouldn't take it seriously though. It's like when you see like Superman. I guess it's a different Superman, right? But then you hear them talking in this.
Clark Kent ended up going to landing in Moscow instead of
Clark Kent. So it's like when you hear with a Russian accent,
it's like Superman's doing cosplay.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a good book. I don't know how it's going to translate into an animated movie though.
Who wrote the book, Chris? Do you remember?
Mark Millar.
Oh, okay.
Mark Millar, yeah.
So we have actually two differing opinions in the comments. Well, Tevye asked what was Chris's opinion. He gave it. I guess, did you watch the trailer though, Chris?
I watched it. It looks good, but at the same time, there were a lot of other Superman stories or Elseworld tales they could have told. But Red Sun's one of the more popular ones. A lot of times they go back and reference it. They've had him when they've done multiple Supermen. They've had him pop up. So it is one of the more popular stories.
Yeah, and then so he's excited for the movie. Sweet is not excited for the movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just got a Superman movie with Death of Superman, Reign of Superman. We need another one. Like, those were good.
Well, they've been doing that. Batman, Superman, Justice League, Batman, then another Superman. It's just, and then now there's a Wonder Woman somewhere.
You know what's so bad about that? I was like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman's coming out. And I'm like, wait, I saw that movie already. That's how forgettable that movie was. I'm like, wait, that already came out and I saw it. And it wasn't very good. All right, let's go to the next thing for media, which is there may not be a Watchmen season 2. I've only seen the pilot of Watchmen because I wanted to binge it all together. So, and also time-wise, I haven't had a chance, but I've heard really good things about the rest of the season. But it's a really interesting move that HBO, you know, they're searching for that next show that's Game of Thrones, and the writer's like, I don't know if I want to make another one. And obviously HBO's like, you better be making another one. So, but then I don't want to see a season 2 if there's not any ideas for it, which is what the writer said.
Yeah, it was interesting. I haven't watched any of it yet. It is on my to-do list, obviously. But I thought it was interesting that he mentioned that when he pitched it, he referenced stuff like True Detective, which is it's more like an anthology series. You tell one story with these characters, and then you move on to other characters and stuff like that. So if it did come back and they were going to completely change focus and like focus on different characters and a different aspect of that world, that would be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It is definitely interesting that there's not story to tell there, which is weird when you're talking Watchmen. But well, I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's move on to some comic news, which is Justice League's Jorge Jimenez joins Batman for, I guess, an arc or so. So Tony S. Daniel, as I think we all knew, was not going to stay on this series for a long time.
Yeah.
But this artist, I do like him, but he's kind of cartoony. So that was like, oh, Batman, really? So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think there was, when I was reading the article, it's actually going to be 3 rotating artists on it because of how frequent it comes out. So it's kind of like Spider-Man. It's like at first you thought it was just going to be Ryan Otley the whole time, but now they have a whole cast of rotating artists. So it's going to be the same thing here. So and my question to you guys, so do you think that interrupts the flow of the book? Does that take away your experience from the title when you have that many rotating artists on a title?
You go, Brant. Yeah.
I don't know. It depends. If the art is close, I don't mind it as much. If it's completely different, like totally, completely different, unless it's for the sake of a particular story they're telling, it's a little jarring.
Right.
But I don't know. With Jorge's, I think he's got one of those styles that's more universal. It's like it kind of fits in that flow. So I don't think that would be a problem with him at least.
But Batman's already done it too. With Mikkel and David Finch was supposed to be on the title, and he's only in
Mm.
that first arc. So it's not like it's they're unfamiliar with that.
So, for instance, like, yeah, you would have like you get like a night and day thing. Like, say you had Ivan Rice on there, right, and then you have like John Romita Jr. That's completely different. Like, even the different artist that was most recently on, John Romita did a couple issues of the City of Bane stuff, and you could see how much different it was, and you're just like, oh man, that sucks. And it's the same thing with like even Immortal Hulk. These past recent issues, like you had the regular artist that's on Immortal Hulk, and this past week you had a completely different artist, and when you look at it, you're just like, oh, it's not the same. So
A different story too, though.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think Brant is right. It's like if it's similar, it doesn't affect it. But if it's a different story or a different story arc or filler or whatever it is, it's different. So,
Dean had a question or a comment. And what's the alternative to switching artists, going back to monthly shipping? Finish the books faster or farther in advance. I mean, that's I wouldn't mind them going back to monthly shipping just because of the cost involved for fans. So yeah, if that enabled artists to stay on longer, sure, I'd be good with that.
I agree. I mean, with the cost of the books these days, double shipping or shipping twice a month, it's just like, it's not necessary, especially with all the other books out there. And you think like these companies would kind of know that, like, it would be like, oh shit, we got like so many books. It's like, do we really need to ship Batman twice a month?
Yeah.
And we also have 8 other Batman titles. So is it necessary to do that? And it would be the same thing for Marvel too. With Spider-Man, do you need to do it twice a month when you have all these other Spider books out there? Back in the day, you had like 2 or 3, so it's like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. And it only costed like friggin' $1. Now it's like $4 or $5 for an issue.
Right.
I was just going to say they did that with Spider-Man for a while, but his issues were a lot cheaper when they were weekly.
Spider-Man started it all. So if we're going to blame anyone, it'll have to be our favorite character, Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then obviously we could go back to DC just not having enough titles, though, and that's why they started the whole double shipping with DC Rebirth. It's like, oh, don't worry, we'll get more, and they never did.
Right.
I mean, when I started collecting Superman, he had a issue a week, but it was a different title issue a week. And then when there was a 5th week, there was that Superman Man of Tomorrow.
And we also had another question from Mike Manhattan. Anyone looking forward to Klaus tomorrow?
Yes. Always looking forward to Klaus. Love that book.
Or Klaus, whatever it is.
Klaus. I assume it's Klaus because of the time period. I don't know. But
I still call it Claus. I don't care.
I'm guessing it's Klaus because it's like Santa Claus, but
right, yeah.
Mike Manhattan goes, $1. How back in the day are you talking? That makes you feel really old now. Dude, you're talking like 1991, 92. That's when comics were $1.
Or at least $1 and change.
And then when they did $1.25.
Yeah.
Missed those days. But we'll move on to the next thing, which is that Miles Morales gets a baby sister. From where was she pregnant? Like what?
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
On and off again. No, she was pregnant for a while. But
On and off again. It's some issues she's pregnant with. Some
no.
not.
Every once in a while they show or talk about it, but not often. He had dinner, like he met them in a restaurant where they revealed, yeah, your mom's pregnant, by the way.
I remember that. I think I was still reading it at that point. And she had the baby already? That's like crazy.
Yeah, right?
I didn't know she was pregnant. Okay.
She wasn't pregnant for long. Yeah.
No, it's like in comic books, time takes like 25 years for someone to age a year. Yeah. And then, like, when you're going to have a baby, it's like 2 issues later. Oh, we're having the baby.
Exactly.
Well, at least the one recent pregnancy with Spider-Woman. And yes, guys, we'll talk about the Spider-Woman costume. I know you guys have been begging for it. But, at least that, felt like it lasted
a while. Yeah, she was pregnant for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Miles' mom is like, I'm pregnant. And then, like, a couple story arcs later, here's the baby.
Here's your baby sister.
So what do you think is the significance of this sister?
Oh, she's special somehow.
Oh, of course. I don't know. I mean, her name's not all that special. It was like Billy. Is her name? I know, seriously. I think it's like Billy.
I'm
Billy,
sure with an IE. Don't worry, it's gonna be.
yeah, with an IE. Billy. What is it, like Billy Mariana Morales or something like that?
DNGN says, "Let's make Rhea always pregnant and May always old on an verge of death."
Why not? That's how they ended Friendly Neighborhood.
I ended Friendly Neighborhood.
I did not
done with
buy
it.
that. I did not buy that last issue. I have all those issues, and
You
I didn't buy
miss
it.
much.
I was just going to
honestly.
say that you missed absolutely nothing. Full circle, same like issue 1.
Still had to deal with that whole underground bullshit again, right?
No.
No.
This was one of those. It was like issue 6 where it was like this standalone, supposed to be emotional story, and it just didn't deliver like that one did. Like where he visited the kid in the hospital. Well, this time it was this. May is going in for treatment, and he promises that he'll be there when she wakes up because she was there when he woke up when Ben died, and then he has to go out and save the world from this kid who's hijacked the grid and made a blackout all over the city, and he's like emotionally trying to get back to May's bedside.
It's so repetitive. Every issue is the same story.
I bet Tom Taylor is happy to be done with this book.
Is he done?
I feel, it ended.
The book's over.
Was this the last
the book
issue?
ended? I didn't even know it got canceled.
Nobody did. It's just if you read the letters at the very end of the book, it's like this was the last issue. We hope to come back again soon. Keep an eye on Amazing Spider-Man for future.
Wow.
We just got a super chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We could buy a comic with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
We don't have to waste our money on Friendly Neighborhood now. We can buy a decent book.
And she says, "Thanks for always doing a great show. That's awesome. Thank you."
Thank you. We appreciate that. It was a good Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Mike Manhattan also asks, anyone seen Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler? Heard it was really good. I haven't seen it yet, though.
No, me either.
Okay. Well, let's move on to, unless we have more to say about Miles Morales' baby sister, Billy.
Not really.
Oh, no.
All right, I think we're good. So we're going to move on to Wonder Woman in the Flash. We'll continue with legacy numbering. And I mean, I'm just hoping this means like we're going back to the way things were, because that's kind of what we were promised with, all these stories. And like we've all been saying, this is still the New 52, except it's disguised as something else. Like this is completely still the New 52. So I don't know. I don't know if I care. Like I'm not reading either title. I'm probably going to get the Flash. So I'll get those legacy issues, but I don't know if I'll continue with the series unless like something big and crazy happens.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's cool in that aspect, but if the story's not good, who gives a shit, right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I mean, I get why they do it, because those are the nostalgic books. Like you had Superman, you got Detective Comics, you got Wonder Woman, you got the Flash. So it makes sense. But again, at the end of the day, if the stories aren't great, then really what does it matter?
And it's like, I've already dropped Wonder Woman and Flash, so it's like
exactly. I'm not picking it up.
So it's like I agree with you guys. It's cool, and I want to see all of them go back to because they've been around for a long time. They deserve it. But yeah, if the story's not cool, then what's the point? Like Mike said. So
yeah, the only reason I'm getting Flash is because it's supposedly like the return of the Flash family. So I want to see what that's going to be all about. Yeah. And then
with Flash forward right now, you've got Wally's kids floating around somewhere.
Yeah.
However that title ends up ending. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see if we'll cover it on this show. But next up is the new martial arts comic. I said front instead of from Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney. It's going to be a martial arts book. I mean, it looks cool. I'm definitely going to get it. And I mean, I read Outcast for as long as I did. So why the hell not?
Yeah, it's called Firepower. It's interesting that they're doing a martial arts book. The way he described it, because he missed certain storytelling aspects of Invincible, but didn't want to do a superhero book. So just the title and considering who the artist is and the kind of art style that Chris Samney has, it makes me feel like it's going to be kind of a throwback to like 70s martial arts films. So
Dude, I was thinking like Iron Fist. That's the first thing that popped in my head.
It could be,
yeah.
And that's what it sounds like, because it's like, this guy's adopted and finds out he's got powers and all this stuff, and it's similar, So,
but I'm anxious to see, because I guess obviously since it's Image, you could probably push the boundaries a little bit more in it and get it to be a little bit more violent and whatnot. So, and the way he described it and wrote the synopsis around it, I was like, oh, this actually sounds really good. I might want to pick this one up.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I mean, Chris Samney did one of my favorite Daredevil runs of all time. So,
Yeah, he's a good artist. DNGN says, "What was Outcast any good?" I believe I'm the only one who read it through, and I'm sure everyone here knows my opinion. I feel like every 10 issues, there's one really good issue, and that's about it. And then everything else is like either in middle ground or like worst pick of the week.
Wow.
So yeah. All right, let's go on to the Robin gets a one-shot to celebrate the 80th anniversary. I'll get 12 copies because guess my girl is in this book.
Which Robin are we talking about?
They're all of them, which is cool. So they're actually like doing Harry Kelly, they're doing Steph, they're doing Tim's. I'm really excited for this. I thought it was just going to be like, here's Dick Grayson. And I would buy it either way because I do like Dick Grayson as well. But I think it's really cool that they're celebrating the whole mantle.
Yeah.
It's probably like 2-page stories of all the Robins. And that's probably what it is.
Hey, Steph gets 2 pages. That's more than we ever get with her.
If they were going to structure it like it was the return of Dick Grayson, I would be more interested. Yeah.
And welcome to 13 people watching. Thanks for
thank you for watching. I mean, so when you look at all the Robins, right? I mean, there's a lot of them, So it's like, what are you going to do?
5, right?
You're not.
There's Damien, there's Tim, there's Dick, there's Carrie Kelly, Steph, and then I guess if you count Duke, but I don't really know if he was a Robin.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, they made it very clear he wasn't a Robin.
Yeah,
they can make it like a We Are Robin book again.
That's the end of the book. Oh man, yeah, I'm excited though.
Yeah, you got Jason Todd, right?
Oh, Jason, I think I did skip Jason. So yeah, Dick, Jason, Tim, Steph, Carrie. No, I did say him. So yeah, there's 5.
6. You forgot Beyond. Batman Beyond got a Robin.
Does that count? Because that's a different continuity.
Well, if you want to go there, we got Robin 3000.
Yeah, there's so if you want to go there, we have 20,000 Superman, we have 20,000 Batman. We'll count the regular Earth. We got 5 on that regard. But is everyone going to pick that one up, or are we skipping it?
Depends on.
I don't know. How much is it?
Oh, probably $20. I don't know.
No.
I'll probably read it digitally, honestly.
For Steph, I'll get it.
Not for a Robin book. Like, I get they're important, but they're not $20 important. If that is even $20,
$8, something like that.
It's definitely gonna be like $9.99 or whatever, but I gotta get it. I'm gonna get it. We'll see where it goes. I'll tell you if it was great or not. All right, but let's move on to the next thing, which is Kid Cable gets a solo series. So if you thought every X-Men and their mother was getting a series, well, here you go. Cable's getting his own now.
The sons are getting a series now too. So it's the mothers and the sons.
It's the mother and the sons. I mean, I like Jerry Dugan, so I'll probably pick it up, and I do like Cable. And they are like showcasing some characters we wouldn't get to see in other books, like Pixie and Armor. So I'm gonna give it a shot. But there's a lot of X-Men books out now.
Yeah, they're going. Sorry, Kurt, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say this is the way things used to be with X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're going ape shit for sure. I might give this issue a try because of the writer, obviously, but I don't know. It's like I did cut those 3 other X titles for sure. So,
just going back to the other thing real quick, the Robin book is prestige format, $9.99.
Oh,
It's a big format as well.
Yeah.
And we'll have to really see. We have a new person in the chat, Karen. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. And they said nice. So welcome to the chat.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks.
Welcome. Thank you.
And then Serenity says Cable has always had a solo book, so no surprise, just waiting for X. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That was my thought. Yeah.
No, and other Cable's dead, so I think.
Just dealing with Teen Cable.
Tevye forgets real quick that adult Cable is dead. Dead, gone, buried. His younger self is now taking over.
He died in that last arc. Which
That series, the Extinction series.
Wow.
And his younger self killed his older self.
Right.
That's how I want to go. I want my younger self to kill me. Continue on.
Very looper of you.
Continue looping around, the young killing the old. That's how it's got to work.
That's how you live forever.
Exactly. You end up dying to your younger self all the time.
So next is Spider-Woman is getting a new costume. So we could showcase that. Let me see if I can pull it up. So you guys can see what this costume looks like if you haven't already. I'm going to show you the cover of, I guess this is issue 1. All right, screen sharing.
I have the biggest problem with this suit, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Once we see it.
Do you guys not see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
I have. Yeah. My biggest problem is those yellow triangles. Why are the yellow triangles focused right on her chest?
That's your biggest problem.
It is.
I can list a couple other problems.
If you go back to the classic when she had the big triangle, like right down the center, the classic red costume, it's the same triangle.
But why are the triangles there to begin with? Like, what is that?
This whole entire
I don't
costume. It looks like kind of like half Miles Morales costume. I don't get why she still has half a mask. Like I thought we went past that.
See, my problem is the Spider-Man pattern, like the classic Spider-Man costume on the shoulder area. Why is she getting Spider-Man's costume? It's just weird. It doesn't fit to me. It's like she's a spider character, but not in the same way that spider characters are spider characters, So it's weird. I don't know.
That's the point of her character, is that she's not really a spider character.
Right.
She just kind of shares the name. We actually have a lot of people who like the costume. I like the color of the costume, but I like the other one more. I really enjoyed the because I love that.
The goggles.
Yeah. A lot of us here all love that Spider-Woman series. So I just hope she still has her kid. I hope that what's his face is still in it, because I really like it.
Erase that. They've recognized
the baby comes back and kills him.
Oh my god!
The kid has been mentioned in multiple comics. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that it's still in there too.
Yeah, because that was what kind of made her.
Yeah.
I don't want to say interesting, because I think Jessica was always interesting, but I think different. Can you put a picture of the other one? Sure. Yeah.
Serenity talks about the triangles. It's the symbol on the back of a Black Widow, and that's what I thought, like the original thing. But why? Because she's not Black Widow.
Yeah, she's not Black Widow.
So that doesn't make sense to me.
Out of anything, you can get rid of that because it's like, why keep that out of all things?
Because it's the closest thing she has to a symbol.
So this is her other costume.
See, but that costume is much better.
Yeah.
That is a symbol of a whatever spider that is on there. The other thing is just a spider, and then there's the yellow triangle. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's not perfect, but I'm just thinking she had 2 really cool costumes before this. And were we ready for a change already? What's the point? Unless it's in story and it makes perfect sense, I don't understand the reason for it.
Because the last costume actually was in story, which I was so impressed with. I don't know who's writing this series, but
I didn't even know it was coming out.
I didn't even care.
I care. I love the character.
I'm happy that she'll have her own book again, because I'm sorry, Strike Force,
No, I don't even. Yeah, no.
We have a couple of new people in here. I see ICT Vinny. So welcome to the show. And was there someone else? Those are two people I saw.
Well, Vinny watches my channel all the time. So yeah. So
I was gonna say he did pop in once or twice before on the show.
We also have third week in a row. We got Mestro Cronus over on Twitch too.
Nice. And as always, put that in the private chat, the link, because I could never find the Twitch. I searched us, like Comic Frontline, I could never find it. And
it's just twitch.tv/Comic Frontline.
I know, I never could find it for some reason. I always search it, and I even tried. We have a couple comments here. So there's the writer. Oh, I thought you were gonna say it's the same writer as Strike Force. Then we have another new person. Scribbiz Moonbeam. So thank you. Hello.
Oh, cool.
Nice. And I got my guy Cheetown Bud is on too. Usually watches my channel as well. Nice. He's notorious he won't say a single thing. He'll just put thumbs up.
That's exactly what I do on Twitch. I just sit there and every once in a while I just let people know I'm there and I send an emote.
Sweet says he's trying to sub to us on Twitch and can't. Chris, I don't know.
We do not have a sub button on Twitch. We only have a follow button right now on Twitch. Yeah. If we continue to build up on Twitch, continue to have viewers on Twitch, very soon we should have a subscribe button. But right now, all we have is the follow button, which is just as good as subscribing on YouTube. So definitely follow us. And we'll pray to get that sub button in 2020, early 2020. Then we get emotes.
We get all the emotes, so get ready.
We're gonna have Brant do all the little emotes for us.
Oh, are we now?
Yep. Yeah. Brant's gonna make one.
Like, yeah, sure.
We have one emote. It's gonna be the Comic Frontline logo that's already done.
Well, that was the Spider-Woman costume. We had so much to say about it, so I hope you enjoyed. And we'll see who picks up that book when it comes out. But that's all the news for this week, so we're going to get into the Under the Radar. Michael's not here this week, but he'll be back when we return after the holidays. So Chris is going to be doing this.
He sends his love, of course, as always. But yes, Under the Radar. This week, the last show of 2019. Let's see what everybody has under the radar. I'm going to start off with Dollhouse Family issue number 2 because I was told I couldn't pick a book because it was too big this week.
It was a big book, dude. Come on.
Let's put this to the side for a second. Yeah. Chris wanted to pick Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as an under the radar book this week.
Is the title of our show
this week.
Yeah.
Who reads it? Other than, did anybody here read it?
I read this issue. But it's TMNT. Come on, man. They're like larger than life.
Yeah, people like that. But in other regards, in other weeks, under the radar, sure. But issue 100.
Well, I mean, you say that, but a book that got to 100 issues, I don't think it's
the first time in history they made it to issue 100 with the classic Turtles.
That's why Chris is trying to promote it under pass under the radar because he's like,
so everybody will go out and buy every single trade paperback, every single issue, and keep.
We have a question from ICT Vinny. Did you guys go over the polls already? If you mean the polls for like our best of comics, I'll post those again. But that's going to be a whole article, a master list of who won. I think like honestly, December 31st, I'll be posting that if I have time. If not, it'll be like January 1st or around that time. And then for the panels, it's always posted in the week after. So it'll be posted on the top, which one.
We could recap on the January 7th. January 6th show, I guess it would be. Or 7th. Whatever date that is, whatever our next show is going to be, we can recap who won.
It'll be the 7th.
Yeah, 7th. Thank you. I couldn't remember.
If that's what you're talking about, if you're not.
He said okay, so I'm guessing one of those things he was talking about he needed. So Dollhouse Family issue number 2. I love how it picks up right where the last issue left off.
Oops.
Main character is now.
I clicked the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Main character, she doesn't talk. We don't know if in the beginning of the issue we don't know if it's voluntarily or because of when it happened in the last issue. She's now in a what are those like an orphanage?
Yeah, foster home, like a foster home type of thing. Yeah.
and of course she doesn't get along with the other girls that are there, and they kind of what's the word? They kind of bully her. They kind of make it look like she's still cuckoo, even though she's not. And then eventually she snaps and goes back to the house. One of the girls sees it happen, and of course tries to do what she does, says the magical words wrong, and ends up disappearing.
Yeah, no, the house like eats her.
Exactly. The house eats her, she disappears, and we get more backstory on why this family's so connected to this house and this demon. I love it. This gives me that Lock and Key vibe without it being Lock and Key, new story kind of feeling, and I'm really enjoying the series a lot. I know Mike, obviously you read it, but I don't know if everybody else here read it as well.
It was really good, and I think it was a very emotionally driven issue because the main character Alice is the one who you weren't sure if she killed her father at the end of the last issue or if her mom actually did it. And since she didn't speak, and based off of the events that happened, because she went through some trauma, the mom admitted to the one that actually did the crime, and that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, and you felt bad for this girl because every time you think a lucky break would happen for her, it just like you said, Chris, like her friends picked on her, and then she went to go visit her mom in jail, and her mom was murdered, and it was so sad. And then it's just like you felt so bad for that little girl, but what's going on in the backstory too with the history, that's kind of weird too. So I don't know, man, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it is a really good book. It's so great.
Definitely a must-read from the Joe Hill line at DC Comics.
Real quick, I want to address something Serenity said. He said Tarot, I think it's Witch of the Black Rose, is under the radar, even though it's made it over 100 issues. And I agree with you. But TMNT's through like one of the top 5 publishers. So I think that's a little bit of a distinction. Plus it's TMNT.
Only reason I agree this week is because big things happened and it made news, and
right.
It's 100th issue. It's the issue number 100.
And it's a major worldwide franchise. It's not
exactly.
That's my only. You can't
kind of as much.
You made a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as much as it's always my under the radar book, and I know a lot of people don't read it.
Yeah.
Like Brand just said, a lot of people probably did pick up issue 100.
Yeah, I mean, even I went to the comic book store, and the clerk, he was saying like, I don't really usually read it, but I read issue 100 because it was the talk of the town. Most of the time when I do the big books, if it's like the first section of big books, they're usually the big books that came out this week, and TMNT, even though I don't read it, is in the big books this week.
Yeah, and if you didn't read the series all along, there was a issue that came out last week that kind of recapped issue 1 all the way through to 99. So it kind of gave you like a cliff notes of everything that's gone on for the past, how many years has it been now? 5-6 years that it's been out. So if you missed out, you could always catch up that way, or get the trades. Get the trades. Support the series. Keep it going, because this is the first time it made it to issue 100. So that was my under the radar. Mike, what was your under the radar this week?
My under the radar book, because Dollhouse Family was going to be mine, and then I saw Chris, and I was like, I wonder if Chris took the Dollhouse Family, and sure enough, you did. And so, but mine was a book that came out last week, and it was 20XX issue 1. This book is made by Image. Is it Image? Yeah, it was Image Comics.
It's Image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that book because it's about society sometime in the future. Obviously, you don't know, because that's why it's called 20XX, and it takes place in Alaska, and it's about the human race who is acquired this disease. So what happens is you walk around with masks and things like that, and you either get this disease and you die, or you get this disease and you become like what is like a mutant, like you get special abilities. And so learning about these people was quite interesting. It's a black and white book, and you wind up learning about the main character. She contracts the disease, and she winds up actually surviving, and she's trying to fit in and trying to adapt, and she's looking for her cousin at the same time. And so what happens is she winds up going into into this bar or this restaurant. She finds her cousin, and her cousin's being attacked by people, and she winds up using her abilities for the first time on accident, and she totally rips the flesh off of this guy, and he's just like this skeleton, and you're just like, holy shit. Like, and so it's a great book, man. Just it's just a different take, kind of like on mutants, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And how they deal with this situation. So really good stuff.
Yeah, it looked interesting. I didn't get a chance to read it, but
yeah.
I did flip through it.
Yeah, I kind of passed it on it because I was like, it's another black and white book, and it's like, But then I heard a couple people talking about it. I'm like, I'm going to check this out and see what it's about. And it was really well written too. It made you really care about the character that was suffering about the disease and stuff. So I'm looking forward to issue 2.
Yeah. Mr. Cronus said, Jonathan Luna, dude. that's who wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one who wrote it. Yeah, exactly.
Acquiring a mortgage. So
yeah, that is your under the radar book.
Yeah. That's funny.
All right, so Grant, what was your under the radar book this week?
So I was gonna pick something else, but it's something I highlighted before. So I read this book. It's a brand new issue, a brand new series from Image as well. It's called Lucy Claire Redemption, and it's from John Upchurch, and it's an interesting monster hunter kind of story, and it had a really solid opening. The art is really nice, and it's basically about werewolves that went away for a while, and now they've come back because they think that the world famous werewolf hunter is dead, that she killed herself or something. And so these kids go seek her out and find her in the jail cell. She's drunk and hating life and all this stuff, and the werewolves follow them, and that's kind of where the story kicks off. So you're in the middle of the story that's got this huge history that you know nothing about, and she's having flashbacks and all this stuff, but at the same time she's trying to pick herself up and fight the werewolves again. So it was kind of a cool first issue. Definitely worthy of checking out.
It's cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Sounds cool.
Werewolf stories.
Yeah.
Hey, some of them are good. Like Night.
Yeah, some of them are. I mean, it's funny how it's like Brant's thing is not usually doesn't like horror books and stuff, but it's like, but he likes werewolf stuff.
Yeah. It was the art that drew me in, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Kat, what's your under the radar?
Speaking of horror, Hack and Slash 15th anniversary. I like Hack and Slash, I always have, but this issue, as like coming from a writer standpoint, was kind of blew my mind. It's especially if you're a comic writer, like coming home from those cons, you're like, I had a bad day or I had a really good day. And it's about Tim Seeley, who created this comic, and Hack and Slash, Cassie Hack, comes to life and pretty much says, how can you do this to me? You created the worst world for me. You made my mom a killer, and all this horrible stuff had happened to me because of you. And then Tim is very honest and says, well, hey, I've always been scared I won't make a creation as good as you. So you kind of screwed up my life as well. So it's just like this really meta story that I did not expect, and it was really cool and unique. The other stories were okay in the book, but that one really, really grabbed me, and definitely a memorable story.
Yeah, I only read that story because I'm not a big Hack Slash reader, but because you recommended and everything, and that was, like you said, such a meta story. Yeah. It's like that's what got me, that your creation has come to life and it's trying to kill you, and it's just a cool concept. And the way that Tim Seeley is very self-deprecating here too throughout it. He's kind of talking about himself and stuff. And I don't know Tim Seeley, but I have met him, and I know people that know him well, and that seems like it's very much in his personality, and so it was kind of funny reading that. So it was a good story. I didn't read the other little. You
definitely do not have to, but that one was like just like out of a creative standpoint, I think it's worth reading.
And creatively, to celebrate an anniversary with that kind of story too was cool. And I love the way that he was talking about, like, his original idea for her, was a completely different character that was kind of boring, and he realized that and changed it. So it was kind of cool getting that information in a story like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's a cool book.
All right, and with that, that is all our Under the Radar. So I am now going to turn it over to Mike, where we will talk about our top 5 and many other big books that have come out this past week.
All right, so let me get back on my screen.
I think he got back on his screen. And he froze, so.
Let me get back on my screen.
Let me just get.
Yeah. While we're waiting, Mr. Cronus had a under the radar. He was waiting until we were finished to share what it was. So I'm waiting. If you're listening or watching right now, let us know what it is, and I'll mention it.
Tevye says no worst pick. We haven't done worst pick in.
Dude, we haven't done worst pick
since we relaunched the show.
Yes. Yep, there it went.
Oh, Breathers. Breathers was his under the radar pick.
Okay, I haven't heard that one, so that's cool.
I've heard of it. I don't remember who publishes it or what it's about, but I do remember the name.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. This week I'm having internet issues, so I cannot be on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So I'm popping in and out in Twitch. So I'm glad Brant's there this week.
Yeah,
hold down the fort.
And Tevye, I see that your top 5 is in the Twitch. Put it in the YouTube so we could highlight it.
You can't share it. So if you just want to put it there, I mean, you can put it there, but no one's gonna see it on the stream because I can't highlight. They don't show up on StreamYard.
Breathers is from a publisher called It's Alive, and it's got a variant cover by Jeff Lemire and Matt Kent. So, but it's by Justin Madsen. I'm not familiar. It's cool.
Well, always cool to really promote the indies. I mean, I guess since Mike's not here, we could start with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because he didn't read
okay. I thought you wanted to start with Superman and get that
out. I know he liked that book. So
okay, so we can start with TMNT.
Oh, and he's here anyway, so.
Oh, there you go.
On device not here.
Yeah.
No, he's coming.
There he is.
You there? Get that click you needed to do.
I don't know what the hell happened there, man. All right. Did we talk about anything or no?
We were gonna talk about TMNT.
We literally were talking just to talk for a bit. Now we're
okay.
Our TMNT.
All right. So I know the first book that was on there was Superman issue 18.
Yeah.
For a big book. So Brian Michael Bendis here, when it comes to this single issue, I thought emotionally was really well done. I enjoyed it. I know Brant mentioned something about it possibly spoiling something in Justice League, but I don't read Justice League, so I wasn't really spoiled by the whole thing.
It is for sure.
But I liked how emotionally driven it was. And so this is what makes Brian Michael Bendis, this is what makes you appreciate him as a writer because he has that potential. So like for an individual issue, it's like, yeah, that's really awesome. But then for the long game, it's like, oh, you're really boring. So, but I love this issue. I thought it was really good. And for me, this was the best issue of any comic that he has written in a long time. Now, you guys may disagree or say we've seen this before, whatever the case may be. But as an issue, I loved it. And him, revealing his identity to Perry, I thought was really great. I love that scene. So
honestly, if they would have limited it to him revealing himself to Perry and Jimmy, even though Jimmy didn't believe it at first.
Which is like, why is Jimmy so freaking stupid in this book?
I don't know why.
The man is telling you he's Clark Kent. And
you just look like Superman with glasses. I thought that was funny. That was a funny scene.
I thought that he did hit the emotional spectrum, definitely with Superman. Again, I don't agree. And there was a coworker of Michael's whose husband's into comics, and he thinks this is like Brian Michael Bendis says. It's opening up thousands of new stories that we've never. This is now a new era for Superman. I disagree. I mean, it was good having the alter ego. It was good having the secret identity. I don't agree with what Bendis is doing. So while there were great moments in the book, I love the Perry moment. That actually was my favorite moment because it shows the difference between New 52, where the world found out about Superman, and the actual Superman coming to Perry and kind of outing himself first, and Perry kind of accepting it, and the reception was there. He didn't feel like he was betrayed because Clark went to him first, before telling the entire world. But I don't like Superman's identity being out there. I don't agree with it. I don't like it.
It's definitely interesting to see the differences as being outed and outing yourself, the reactions, and I think that's going to be interesting to see how Bendis handles the various characters getting this information and processing and everything. And we saw little glimpses of that throughout this, but the emotional beats were great. Especially the stuff with Perry, and I love the little funny scene with Jimmy where he already knew. Of course, Lois told him. I mean,
I like that though, and I like Lois's reasoning behind it too, because Lois, he was my friend first.
Right, exactly, yeah. So that was good. All that was good. My only issue, and Mike kind of referenced it, was that currently in Justice League for the past 38 issues, we've had this story arc where and it's built into this whole Year of the Villain where Lex Luthor is combined with Martian Manhunter and he's giving these offers to all these villains, and it's still going on both in Justice League and in all these one-shots and all this stuff. And in this story, there's Martian Manhunter, there's normal Lex Luthor. So it's like, okay, we already know how that's going to end. And I mean, it's a no-brainer that it's going to end like that anyway. But the point is they, totally just did away with that whole thing. It's like, well, Justice League doesn't matter. Year of the Villain doesn't matter because this is where we're going.
Yeah, I feel like the story was really, like everyone said, the story was really solid emotionally, but where does this go? Do I care? That's the biggest question. Right. It's like, will I continue to read Superman after this? I mean, I'll probably get the next issue, but I don't know how long this is going to be on my pull list for. Probably not that long. So yeah, it gave enough for people to buy this issue, but is this really how is it going to affect in the long haul?
Yeah,
I'm going to buy the next issue because I do want to see the ramifications of this and how does Bendis handle this particular situation. But if it becomes boring and stale and drawn out, then I'm just not going to care. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So that's, you reveal this big deal and you got to keep this momentum going. And if you just stall it out or drag it out and it has nothing to do with anything that's going on, where he has no ramifications except for like 10 issues from now, then I'm not interested in that, So I want to see it happen quicker.
I'm gonna check out the ramification books because there's 2 one-shots. I think they actually come out this week. But I've already put Superman on my chopping block. I'm done till we get through whatever this is that we're going through with Superman.
If they come out this week, I'm definitely not picking it up.
I think one definitely does. I think the villain one comes out next month. I could be wrong. Yeah. But no, this was the end for me with Superman. I don't like the direction. I thought it was an emotional issue. I'll definitely agree with everything you guys said. It just doesn't fit Superman. And again, it's one of those things where you'll have to fix status quo. It's going to be changed back eventually. So I don't know when, but I'm just not feeling Bendis' Superman at all. Good emotional beats, though.
We did get a comment a while back. I just want to reference it to people who might not saw it. But S&M Down says, are you going to do a top 10 of the year comics before the new year? So just to mention again, we have the best of comics going on. And this is like best miniseries, best series. So look forward to that. And also personally, I'll probably do a top 10 on my channel. And personally for this channel, we're going to be doing comics we're looking forward to in 2020 as well. So we'll have a lot of stuff going on for that.
Awesome. All right. So anything else about the Superman book?
No, but I was seeing a comment about Doomsday Clock. Anyways, okay. Nothing.
Doomsday Clock finally ends tomorrow.
Thank God. It only took them
3 years.
And again, we won't be talking about it after 3 years. Yeah. I'll discuss it. Well,
I haven't.
Doomsday Clock ends with a whimper.
I haven't bought Doomsday Clock in since like issue 3 or 4. I don't even know. Yeah, because it's like I can't follow a book that's that delayed like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, whenever that trade does come out, I'm going to buy that in trade to read that trade. I think that will be the best way for me to read it and grasp the story. Because that's the same effect that how it like Shazam had for me. It's just like the story completely. Not for Shazam. Exactly. No, screw that. Yeah, no way. That's just not even possible there.
honestly, I didn't read Watchmen when it first came out. I read it years later in trade, and I couldn't imagine reading that in single issues. So I
No,
think
I
it's the same
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It reads so much
probably-
better in trade.
Probably majority of the Earth read that book in trade. You know what I'm
I'd
saying?
say.
Yeah.
If you have those single issues. So Sweet mentioned Superman can't realistically have a secret identity in the world of social media, but can you say that about any superhero? I guess besides Spider-Man, because Spider-Man has like a full mask, but I feel like any hero, that's
Any
the
hero
one
without a
trope you have to look
full face,
over.
Yeah, any hero without a full face mask then. And again,
Well,
this is comic books and fantasy, so
Even with the face mask, paparazzi follow you wherever you go. They'd find a way to follow Spider-Man.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
If a writer wanted to tell that story, they would have already. And there's a
Right.
reason why they haven't, because
Yeah.
you're just digging yourself into a hole.
Yeah.
yeah. No, and again, it's fantasy. This is sci-fi fantasy. That there's a reason why. It doesn't have to be a logical reason for really anything. I mean, come on. You put glasses on and slick your hair back, the whole world. Wow, you were Superman all this time?
I had no idea.
10-year challenge with Doomsday Clock. I love it.
Real Manos. If I could find a picture of me with issue 1, I definitely would have done that.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, so let's move forward. We're going to talk about TMNT issue 100. I didn't get around to actually reading the book, but I don't know if everybody read it. So I don't know if we want to do spoilers here, but we already had it on our thumbnails, so it's too late. Splinter dies, he gets his head chopped off, and that's it. No, I have no idea what happened.
Splinter ends up sacrificing himself to bring back Shredder. If you see, here's one of the things with the Turtles: the miniseries matter. So if you've been reading Shredder in Hell, the first 3 issues came out, monthly, and then the 4th issue they took, I think it was a 2-month break, and then the 5th issue came out last week, which led into issue 100. So Kitsune wanted to resurrect Shredder. You had a Karai who wanted to lead the Foot Clan again, and the Turtles are kind of stuck in the middle of this. Plus, you've got the Mutanimals, of course, Old Hob causing other issues. So, like, all this stuff is happening all at once. And Casey's father teams up with Bishop to fight against the Turtles. And this book kind of wraps all those stories up as we move into the new 100-issue arc for Turtles, hopefully. Question mark? I don't know. But we're moving on. We're going to issue. We got an issue 101 and more. So we get a lot of death. Splinter's the major death here because he sacrifices himself because he needs to bring Shredder back for many reasons and to kind of get him away from being the spirit of the dragon. And he sacrifices his own life force to bring Shredder back. So Shredder is going to be on a redemption path now as leader of the Foot Clan again. And what?
No, go ahead, finish.
Bishop gets taken out. Casey's dad ends up dying, or at least we're led to believe that in the book. Jenica is also in the book, and you can see her and Casey are kind of starting to patch things up. Do I see a romantic anything going on with them anymore? No. Hopefully we'll get him in April back at some point.
Jenica's a turtle.
She's a turtle now, but she was human once.
That'd be an interesting romance.
Yeah.
But there was actually a really cool epilogue we find out that the Utrams, which I like that Tom Waltz and Kevin Eastman kind of changed it a little bit when it came to Krang. They were considered parasites. So Leatherhead, who ate Krang, ended up having his entire stomach ripped open, and now he is Krang's new body, so to speak. That was really dark. Yeah. And I was not. That was twisted.
Reading this, not having read a single issue of this entire run, was interesting. So I came into it completely cold, and it's the 100th issue. It's TMNT. I wanted to read it. I knew we were going to talk about it. At least Chris was going to talk about it. So, but.
Yeah, who's this we? Who's this
I know.
you're talking about?
But the 100th issue, I wanted to be able to have somebody. I wanted him to have somebody to talk to about it. And I'm a TMNT, classic TMNT, like cartoon fan and stuff like that. But Yeah, I was a little lost at first because there was a lot going on in this issue.
Oh,
Like Chris just kind of threw out all these names and all these things going on. It's like, what the heck? But I thought that the issue did a good job of kind of getting you up to speed as to what's going on, because when you open this, you're like in the middle of a war zone, and everything is just breaking loose, and you got battles on every side. You've got Casey's father who's like apparently a hater of mutants and all this. He thinks they're monsters and doesn't want anything to do with them.
How many mutants are there?
There's a lot, because the whole old Hob, which Chris referenced, turned a bunch of people into these
into mutants, and
Yeah.
I think they're still mutants.
Yeah, so you had like Bebop and Rocksteady fighting some, and they made a reference. Somebody, I forget who said it, but they said, "I don't even know who's the good guy or the bad guy here." Because everybody's fighting everybody, and you didn't know what was going on. And then you've got this. I think it was it Kitsune that was in love with Shredder.
Yes,
Yeah.
She's the one that orchestrated this entire thing.
Yeah,
Had all the gods, flipped all over the place. Killed her sister.
yeah.
I can't pronounce her
Kitsune
name. Killed her sister to
Yeah.
bring him back.
Right, and so she's using Shredder's body to bring back this dragon god or spirit or whatever, and that's why Splinter had to sacrifice himself to bring Shredder back, to put him back in his body, so that they could thwart this whole evil plan, because this dragon is just like coming out of the ground and like overtaking the entire city. So it was a really emotional story. You had Raph reconnecting with his brothers. You got the impression that he had been away or something. And so what would you say, Chris?
No, I was saying there was so much that happened in this book. I mean, I could go back page by page, something else will happen. But yeah, well, at least we got Raph back. Raph kind of snapped out of his little heated anger moment.
Yeah, so I mean, there was a lot to unpack here, and if you hadn't been reading it, you'd definitely be a little lost. But I think if you're a Turtles fan of any degree, that you definitely get the emotional beats out of it, which is what I got out of it. And losing Splinter like that, and
this is the first.
Never
died before.
Yeah, and as I was reading it, it was kind of interesting, because it's kind of, when I think back, it's like, well, of course it is. But as I'm reading it, I'm like seeing a lot of parallels between this and the X-Men. And it's like Splinter and Shredder are definitely Professor X and Magneto.
Oh, yeah.
You see so many parallels there, especially in this issue, though. So it was a good issue.
I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen with Shredder now being on this path. And I thought the ending with Splinter being with his wife again, because a lot of this is they're reincarnated from the feudal Japan time, where there were samurais and ninjas and whatnot. And it was a nice moment seeing Splinter with his wife. Will Splinter come back at some point? This is a comic. This is Splinter. I'm almost positive they'll find a way. And will Shredder go back to his old ways? Possibly. I think when
he was a clone.
That's when it'll happen.
It was a clone. It wasn't the real Splinter that died.
Oh yeah, something's gonna happen.
I doubt it. I think he's the only mutant rat. So I doubt that it wasn't Splinter.
Well, SM and Down mentions the show. Maybe that happened, but I think Chris is just talking about the comics.
I'm only talking about the comics, yes.
My favorite turtle was Picasso.
I did like the little funny Serenity made, which was
that's why
Mona Lisa.
I was referencing, yeah.
Well, congratulations to TMNT issue 100. It's always a milestone, no matter what comic these days. So that's really awesome that I got to that point. And like I said, you got to respect that. I probably would have bought the issue if it wasn't just for the heavy ass week that it was.
And it was an expensive issue.
It was $10.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. So unfortunately. All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about the next book. And the next one's going to be X-Force issue 3. When it came to X-Force this time around, this was not the strong issue for me. It was a lot of running away from these weird like ass creatures, but you did get the resurrection, of Professor X.
Though.
I know, it was too quick. Yeah, it was too quick.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the way they did it, but it was just like we only had him without him with one issue. I was like, man, that kind of sucks, because I wanted to see how they would deal with things without him there. and that was the whole point of that situation happening, and then we get this mysterious villains at the end that call themselves, what is it, Xeno, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's how you call
whoever
it.
they were.
Yeah.
Xenophobia.
Trying to remember, because it's been like there's so many X-Men books and so many like similar villains now.
Yeah.
That I feel like has such similar motives. Yeah, I don't know. This book was really forgettable for me, and I'm just trying to stick with it, guys. I'm really trying to stick with it.
I liked it. It just wasn't, for me, it wasn't as strong as the other two issues, because right away bringing back Xavier like erases all that, everything that was going on. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, oh, he's back. And I don't know if he's going to be different, though, because, of the intelligence that they loaded up to him in him. I don't know.
Yeah, that was interesting because they weren't sure it was going to work last issue, and they were talking about all the complications and everything. So we haven't seen like if there are any yet,
right?
So I hope that they explore that a little bit. I do agree with you guys. I think it happened a little too fast, him coming back. But at the same time, I enjoyed the issue. I know it wasn't as strong as the last two, but I felt like, okay, we got. It's, I don't know, the way the momentum built up to this issue. This was the action heavy issue, so next issue it'll slow back down or something. And they're just
right.
I liked them rescuing Domino and kind of dealing with that whole thing, because man, they messed her up.
Oh yeah, they did.
She's not fun in games anymore. I actually really like the Jean part. I enjoyed like her whole conversation about life and death.
Right.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that too. It was an interesting take on not having to fear death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So cool. That's X-Force. So yeah, good book. All right. So we're going to move on actually to our number 5 now. So we had some already really good comic conversations. My number 5 was Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality. I liked that book. I thought it was just a lot of fun. Real short. Spider-Man, it starts off in the book where he's fighting and he goes against Kraven the Hunter. And the next thing, he winds up waking up in a different reality, and everything is different. Like Kraven the Hunter is his buddy. He drives the Spider-Mobile again. Instead of Felicia being Felicia, Black Cat is Natasha. And
I saw that panel, and I thought it was MJ. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction. I'm like, oh my god, MJ is Black Cat, and it's like, nope, just kidding, it's Natasha. And I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. And they're like lovers in that reality. But then Spider-Man's like, no, we're not. No, we're not. He realizes that something's not right. And then what happens is the Hobgoblin is Doctor Strange. Like, he's Stephen Strange in this whole thing. So he's going after Spider-Man, and what happens at the end is, in the very last page, you see Stephen Strange in there. He's like, yeah, I got a few things up my sleeve, but he's like a bum. He has nothing. He's just basically not even in existence. So it's a quite interesting book. And the way it opened up was like, it was Natasha and it was Stephen Strange. They opened this weird box, but you never knew what became of it. So I think that has to do with the reality change. But it was a lot of fun. Interesting story. You don't take it serious and just enjoy the ride. That's the way I looked at it. So it's really good. So that's my number 5. So, Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Superman, where you talked about it.
Hi. And Chris.
Go Power Rangers. I enjoyed the flashback with Tommy that he's questioning within himself if he was completely under Rita's control or not. He goes to he was teleported to this palace, which is where Saba is and the White Ranger coin is, and he has to go through these trials to get the coin and to gain the white light. And Saba believes that, he shows him, in another reality, you become this evil Draken and you take over the world and whatnot. So he doesn't want to give it to Tommy. Tommy tries to fight for it. Lord Zed shows up, and it looks like he's with Lord Zed. Like, Lord Zed plays off that him and Tommy, like, he knows that Tommy still has evil within him and whatnot. And it kind of leaves off with a dark Saba. So I'm interested in seeing how, and we all know that he's going to become the White Ranger because Mighty Morphin, but it's going to be interesting to see how he gets to that point now, because this is all different. It's not like the way when we were growing up as kids.
Yeah, I like the Tommy stuff a lot because is he gonna become evil? What's this all about? I thought this was a little slower of an issue though, because we got more of the Omega Rangers and we know how that ends because of Mighty Morphins. That's kind of weird, like, okay, we have these two different timelines going on. So but yeah, still a solid issue, very good cliffhanger.
Very cool. And guys, thank you so much for actually watching and all the great comments. It makes for some great conversation. So thank you. And Brant saying likes are good, likes are our friends. So yes, really, if you can give us a like, guys, it's greatly appreciated. Like I say it on my show too, it's like these likes and these comments help the show, go further, and it lets other people know that this show actually exists. So thank you so much.
Yeah, that's why every week I ask for the like it, not because like, oh, let's see how many likes we can get to it. It really does, like, it helps to get the video on a better analytics with YouTube.
Yes, and don't forget to also share the Twitch page so we can build that up and maybe bring people in that don't know the show exists on Twitch.
There you go.
All right. And so who do I got? Brant? Do we got Brant left to go? Yep. Go ahead, Brant.
Valkyrie, Jane Foster was issue 6.
It was a good book.
Yeah, it was a really good book. First issue of a new arc. So we're finally done with that intro arc. And she's forming her own super team to go save Death, which is an interesting concept. And I think my favorite parts here it was her monologue as she's talking, kind of reconciling the differences between her main personality and the Valkyrie personality and how she sees things differently. I love that throughout the issue. And the stuff with Doctor Strange and how he talks about how he's got his hands back and he's starting to be a surgeon again. And
I like the card tricks.
That's funny. It keeps me nimble. That was kind of funny. And their team of C-listers strung together. Oh man, I mean Mannequin. That was like I never read Alpha Flight, so I don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah, besides like Night Nurse, I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah, Night Nurse. Yeah.
And I text when I said on our group meet or on our Facebook. Messenger Facebook, I was like, oh, Brant, you'll never realize who's actually Jane Foster. And I was mentioning Cardiac because I was just like, oh, Cardiac, the Spider-Man character that you've seen twice in maybe like 20 years. Like you didn't see that guy, so it's like, but I liked him when he first came out. I thought he was a cool character.
That first arc they did with him was really cool. Go ahead, guys.
I was gonna say, no, this book was what I like about this book as a whole is that it's so into the superhero genre. Like it, plays with a lot of stuff that we've seen a billion times, but in such a fresh light. And the scene I really enjoyed the most was the morgue scene with our boss, because usually a whole entire comic would be like, oh, I can't tell my boss, and that would like literally be the whole entire run of like the boss can't find out until like the last issue. So it's cool. Jane's like, all right, you want to know? Here it is. I love that. I thought that was so cool, and I liked his reasoning of how he deducted that it was Jane, because again, most of the time they're Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen's that other far side of like, even when you spell it to him, he still doesn't understand. This guy is like, nah, like, I figured
he's like, I'm not stupid. Yeah.
And I love that too. I mean, this guy's a doctor, right?
Yeah.
It's like, of course he's not stupid. I love the way that played out too. Yeah.
It also plays for an interesting story in the future, because now Jane doesn't have to tiptoe. So, and obviously her job is to work at a morgue. So that's literally her job as a human and her job as a Valkyrie. It's going to combine. So I think that was really cool. And it was just like a really fun adventure. And I love this book.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah, and then how about the ending? Like, how does Death die?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's like, how are they going to deal with that whole situation? Yeah, what is? Yeah, it's like they're basically saying that like the universe is completely messed up if she dies.
Right, because without Death, there is no death.
Yeah, exactly. So does everyone live forever?
Right, and then what becomes of Valkyrie if there's nobody to take off into Valhalla and all that? It's it's very deep.
And then don't forget, you've got demons that are hiding out on Earth. If you've been reading Ghost Rider, and you got different plays going after them.
Yeah, So I mean, you could lead into a whole supernatural cataclysm here.
Well, hey, there's an event coming in Marvel. Maybe this will be the next event.
We'll have to see.
Marvel doesn't stop.
Who knows?
I don't want Jean to be in another event though, because we just had that.
Every event, it impacts everybody in Marvel.
Oh man, War of the Realms was just so good. Let's just like live with that for a little while.
But Kat, it's earth shattering.
Right, it is earth-shattering.
Everyone is more earth shattering than the next one.
There's so many events that are going to happen too, because you have this incoming event with the teens. You have the Rider guy from Marvel issue 1000.
Yeah.
There's like another one.
Then you're going to have like baby Cable come back and kill young Cable.
Right.
You have an even younger Cable.
It's Baby Yoda effect. So it's actually exactly that looking version of Cable killing young Cable.
I can't believe how viral Baby Yoda still is.
I know. Still to this day.
EMPYRE
bigger than Hustlers. Can you believe that?
Yes, in person. Yeah, Chris had even watched it over it. But yes, Mike, EMPYRE.
The EMPYRE event is supposedly going to be, I guess, hinted at that based off of that incoming book that's coming out after Christmas. But that's how it's all going to kick off. So I guess we'll learn more about what's going on there.
We'll pick it up, but we won't be able to talk about it because we won't have a show the week after. But thankfully, that's the show we're not having the week after because there's like 4 books for us. So besides incoming, we could talk about Doctor Strange's magical tricks for an hour. But
all right, so let's move forward now. We got our number 5s in there, so let's talk about. All right, so we talked about Power Rangers as well, and now we're going to talk about a book I absolutely died of boredom reading, and that was Spider-Man 2099.
If you want to read a Spider-Man
I'm glad you warned me. I'm glad you warned me.
And Brand's like, it didn't bother me.
No, listen, before you all get into this is the funny thing. I told you guys, it's like, oh, I read it, and I didn't hate it. It was fine. And so when I'm ranking my books to figure out where my top 5 and everything is, I'm like, okay. And I get down to the last 2. And the last one ends up being Spider-Man 2099. Oh, my God.
But it wasn't that bad.
No.
Let's say that this book, for a book called Spider-Man 2099, had no Spider-Man in it.
And it was a $10 book.
Oh, man.
It was an $8 book.
I'm so upset about this book. I'm just like, I knew I shouldn't have. I told you guys that last week. I'm like, I know, but you know.
Yeah, but it's like, you would never expect a book like this to be just all about Miguel O'Hara.
Not being Spider-Man.
Yeah, not being Spider-Man. It's like, well, what's the point? You want to see him as Spider-Man 2099, you know?
He forgot he was Spider-Man too, right? Like, I don't know if I read it correctly, but he's like, is that me?
I honestly couldn't tell if it was like a flashback or if he forgot or if he didn't want to be anymore or what was going on.
He was all like on this like drugs or whatever it was. And it was, God, it was so freaking dialogue heavy, and I'm like holding my eyeballs open to try to read it, and I'm just like, this is so bad. I'm like, I can't. I was like, I wanted to stop reading it so bad, but I stuck through it, and I'm like, when I got done with it, I felt like I just like ran around a track for like 8 miles. It was so exhausting and tedious and just a chore to read. And a comic should not be like that, and a character like that should be more exciting, and you should be more engaged. It was so bad.
It was so boring. Well, let me say, so I read all my comics in one day, and I had 20 books this week. I read this like in the middle. I'm just like, oh my God.
It was the first book I read just because you guys were talking about it. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get this over with. So yeah, that's why at first it was like, oh, it wasn't so bad. But then when I read all the rest of my books, it's like, yeah, okay, it wasn't great.
I mean,
as everything else.
Yeah.
To answer DNGN, it basically what he did was sit around and talk to his boss half the issue, and then he talked to like a drug dealer for another 3 pages, and then he talked to his brother for another 3 pages, and you're just like, enough of this shit. You know, it's like this is so
It was just
ridiculous.
He was calling everybody new, just like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah, and it's a one shot.
Yeah.
And then
It's
I'm not getting Omega, that's for sure. I'm not
I
getting
am
that
what's the
issue.
point?
Italy.
Yeah.
What was the point of this 2099 event? Honestly,
Who the hell knows?
Doom again is the
Yeah.
big problem. Okay,
And we'll talk about Doom later. So
I read that one too.
Yeah, I did too.
I
You
did.
poor souls.
Yeah,
It was better than this, though.
I'm
It was
gonna
better
put
than this,
Jeff
yeah.
here and say
Yeah.
I'm burnt down on 2099. And it's like
I-
2 months.
I'll tease our Doom conversation later. There was something interesting that happened in it that I was like, oh, for that alone, I wish this was continuing.
Yeah, and it's a shame. None of it's continuing. Where is this going? And there's no Spider-Man 2099 book that was announced after this. I thought this was an ongoing originally when this was announced. I was like, oh, that's why they're doing this. And this is not an ongoing.
That's
why
what
are
I
you
thought
doing this?
Renew trademark.
Yeah.
Probably. Hey, let's look at the good side though. Previews does confirm there's a Wolverine issue #1, so I'm happy. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
Wolverine.
Yes,
that's
just
where it's at.
D&G, and I bought a jewel just for that.
All right. So moving forward now, we're going to talk about our number 4. So number 4, I think it was Valkyrie for me. I don't even know. Yeah, it was Valkyrie issue 6 for me. So that was my number 4. So we obviously already talked about that. So Brant, what was your number 4?
Mine's another book we already talked about, X-Force, number 3.
Awesome. How about you, Kat?
Mine is actually New Mutants issue 3. I actually did crack my top 5. And it's actually
That book is still going on?
Yeah, issue 3. It's still actually going on. Ileana wasn't
not for the rest of us.
No, not for. But this issue actually didn't focus on the New Mutants, and that's why I liked it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because the Ileana issue.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't. Okay. No, it wasn't Ileana. She wasn't in it at all. I wish it was her.
You said she isn't in it. Oh,
yeah, she's not in it. She didn't have any jokes. So I was, obviously this could have been my pick of the week, but it wasn't because Ileana wasn't in it. But no, this is actually interesting. So we get to see Armor kind of realize everyone's not at Krakoa. So she's like, oh, let's see where everyone is. So she goes to her friend Angel and Birdie, whatever, the Beak guy. I don't know what his name is, but they're actually.
I think it's his Beak.
Beak guy, bird person. Him and his wife, they're off not in Krakoa, and he's actually taking care of his father, who's not a mutant. And Armor brings the flower to the father, who has dementia and is dying, and gives it to him. And then the military is on their front lawn. So I thought that was cool because it's a different take on Krakoa, something we hadn't really seen. So it was not New Mutants related at all, and that's why I really enjoyed it.
Okay, interesting.
You missed the only good issue of New Mutants, guys.
There's so many books this week.
No,
it was I just shared that. Who's just said? Was it Serenity who said that it was top selling?
Oh, we were just making a joke, Serenity.
Oh yeah,
still doing well, I'm sure, because Jonathan Hickman is writing it. Or no, he's actually not writing it anymore.
He's not writing this one, but
he was for the first 2 issues. He was co-writing it.
He was, yeah. There was a co-writer.
But he's not anymore because Ed Breeson's only on it. But yeah, this was cool. I was surprised by the issue.
Had I known what Spider-Man 2099 was, I might have gotten this one instead.
I think it would have been worth it.
Oh man! All right, Chris, what do you got?
Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Golden Child's one shot. Holy crap! I kept reading, and it's like, okay, so this is the end of the book, right? And that book just kept going. That was like a trade almost. I think there's 53 pages in that book. It continues the story a little bit more from where Master Race left off. You get a little bit more with Superman's daughter and his son, and Darkseid's involved. No Superman, no Batman. Literally, focal point is Supergirl, little baby Jonathan, who's now a young boy, the new Batgirl. And I enjoyed the issue. I really did. It's just, unlike 2099, as there were more pages, and I'm like, oh, we're not done yet. Okay. But there was a lot of talking, but for me, it was an enjoyable read. I don't think anybody here read it, though.
No, man.
No.
I mean,
I did not read it. Yeah,
I read that first of the sequel of Dark Knight Returns, and I'm like, I'm never gonna read this universe again.
Same.
I'm good.
Same.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was a nice expansion on Superman's daughter and son, and the ending has them leaving. And of course, I do love that they throw politics into this. But
I mean, it's Dark Knight Returns. Come on,
Yeah.
of course it's gonna be
Alan
politics.
Moore. It's Alan Moore. So I mean, it didn't surprise me whatsoever.
Alan Moore.
Grant
It's
Moore,
Frank Miller.
Grant Moore,
Frank
but
Miller,
Grant
sorry.
Morrison wrote the original one, right?
No, Frank Miller. Frank
Frank
Miller
Miller.
always.
Frank
Frank Miller.
It's Frank Miller. Brant's right. I don't know why Alan Moore popped in my head.
Because they
Watch
both like politics. Well, also the comics came out around the same time, so
Right. So no, it was good though. I like how there's a possibility for more later on with Superman's daughter. We're not sure yet. We'll see.
Grant Morrison wrote the third one though, right? Of the Dark Knight. He did something with Dark Knight.
Did he? I don't know.
I think so. I think him and Frank Miller co-wrote the last one, but anyways.
I don't think so, but I'm gonna look it up now because I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. Anyways, that's how invested we are into this universe.
Yep. All right, so let's go on to the next book before we get into that was our number 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to go on and we're going to talk about Batman Curse of the White Knight issue 5. What do you guys think about this particular issue? There's some pretty good action at the end of this one and some good Harley moments in there.
I want to know what's gonna break Batman. What does Napier know that's gonna break Batman if he finds?
I mean, it's the whole Azrael story, so it's him being related to this guy. I think
has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah.
I didn't like this issue as much as the previous ones, but I like the Jim funeral. That was good.
Yeah, I like the Harley moments because Batman goes to Harley and sits there and tries to get Napier back out, and she winds up bringing the twins with her, and he winds up coming out and giving that important information that they needed to know. But I agree, this issue wasn't as strong as the previous issues. This one didn't make my top 5 this time around, but it still was a solid book. I enjoyed it though. It always is. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Made my number 15 out of 20. So
wow, that's pretty low for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of there. I just don't like Azrael at all. But there's parts I enjoyed about the book. But
yeah, Azrael's going after the Joker at the end of the issue, and he's wearing. He was supposed to be the new Batman, and he goes and breaks into Arkham and kills all the villains, and now he's going after the Joker. So that's how it ended up.
Scribner's Moonbeams said, "I'm behind. Please, please spoil." I thought you said, "Please don't spoil it." I was gonna say this is the show where we talk about these books. So,
oh yeah, we forgot to do the spoiler warning. Hey, spoilers! Sorry.
Spoilers.
I'm sorry, we were not on top of it this week.
We're over halfway through the show. It's like
There you go. Warning, we're gonna spoil stuff.
Just in case you didn't know, Splinter died.
Splinter died.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I tried looking up if he died before in the comics, because Mano said he did in the first volume. I know Shredder did. Splinter, I don't believe he did. I believe that they thought he died, but he lived. So I don't know. I'm not 100%.
He's faked his own death, but he hasn't died.
Would not surprise me.
All right. Well, the next issue that we're going to talk about is Undiscovered Country issue.
Ooh,
2.
I've been ready for a week for this.
I'm really curious because both of you, I won't say, but yeah.
No, you go, Brent. You like
I'm interested to hear your takes on it. Why you didn't care for this issue as much?
And while you talk about a book I haven't read, I'm going to go grab something real quick. My internet a bit.
I can't get into it.
It's a bore fest.
It's
really
too.
Okay.
It's very. Like, I find certain aspects of it interesting, especially the ending, how the main guy, the main character is kind of like related to this, what the frick is that thing's name? I forgot its name. That creature at the end, at the end of the book.
At the same time, though, I feel like we don't know these characters. And they tried in this issue. Like, that beginning part, I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to get a background on these characters. And I'm like, I still don't care about you. Like, why? I don't care if you're part of this society.
There's too much.
Yeah.
This is issue 2, and we've been thrown into this world where you get a ton of characters. that you know nothing about, that you don't care about yet. You get thrown into this world that you don't know. It's just too much. It's like everything is being thrown at you, and you have time to tell this story. Like it's a very expansive world, and it's not like a Batman comic where it's just like, oh, I know Batman, I know the Riddler, I know the Penguin, I know this. This is an independent book where you need to take time to digest these characters and who these characters actually are. And I don't think they're doing a good job at explaining these characters.
Okay.
And being that this world is so upside down, you're just kind of just like, what am I reading here? You know, I think the best thing that I read about this was Uncle Sam, how he's like a zombie and like he can regenerate. That was the craziest thing that I read, but I just can't get into this book. I just can't do it.
My counter for that is that the thing I like about the pace is that there's the sense of urgency because they've got this virus, the sky virus that's going on, and that's the whole reason they came, was to try to get a cure. So their whole purpose is to let's get this done fast so we can get back and help everybody outside of the United States. So I mean, that's why the pace is forgiving to me. But I felt like we got enough of the character's backstory here, because you find out that the two siblings, they were sent off, but apparently their parents stayed, and that's where the connection comes in. And then like they're courting Daniel, that's the guy's name. Both sides are courting him the same way, and then there's that swerve at the end where he's not there for either one of them. He's there for that creature,
right?
Which
so much. It's just like,
okay.
And I totally get where you're coming from, Brent. From a storytelling perspective, it's like, yeah, that's cool that you do have the pace of the urgency of the type of story, but I'm on Mike's side where it's just like, but what am I connecting to? You know, like, and maybe because I'm this coming from more of a character driven standpoint. I know you usually do too, Brant, but I saw the ending of like I like the letter pages more than the comic. But they said, yeah, we're trying to do like a Lost type thing where there's all this information and we're gonna unravel it as it goes along. But I don't know if that always works.
Yeah, if there's so much information for me to digest, I'm not going to remember obviously what's going to happen 30 issues down the road, you know what I'm saying? And I think it makes it a little bit harder too for us because we read so many books.
Oh yeah.
So
if
this was like the only book that I read, that might be different, because you could sit there and go back and reread this 3 or 4 times and you could sit there and digest it all. But I think part of the problem is too, like I said, like Kat reads all her books in one sitting.
Yeah.
I'll read 3 or 4 books in one sitting. Same with you, you know, or it depends if we're behind in our reading, we could read 10 books at one time.
Right.
So a book like that is very hard to digest, I feel.
Yeah. I totally get that. I think the way I'm viewing it is like a disaster movie. Whereas like you have this expert that you bring in the midst of this big chaotic thing that's going on, and they have to get caught up to speed right away. And that's kind of the way I'm digesting it. So maybe I'm just getting something a little different out of it than you guys.
Right.
I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Right. And this is a book that like I really want to like, but I can't quite connect to these characters. I can't even connect to the story and the actual like the villain in this book. I was just like, okay, you're a dude that wears like spacesuits, you know, and you make people climb a wall. Like, okay, I guess, you know. I was like,
it's like the reverse of Paper Girls. Like why I think a lot of us are able to connect with that is because character always came first. Compared to the world. It's like, oh, what is going on in the world? It didn't matter as much because it had to do with the characters. Here, I think the plot is more important than the characters. And I just personally don't like stories like that.
Yeah, and I get that. And I'm hoping that over time that those characters become more important. Yeah. Especially these two siblings. I think they're key.
Who the hell knew they were siblings until this issue?
No, I think they mentioned it in the first issue.
Did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I must have missed that. I did not know they were siblings in the first issue. And then I'm like, oh, I guess they're siblings. No, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So again, I don't know if it's got to just do with Snyder in general these days. I don't know if maybe he's just, for me, just overwriting. I just, again, it just comes to the point where it's like, I think you just got to take it easy in the first couple issues, let people digest it. I think there's a way of writing to the point where it's just like, get people to digest the information, get to learn your characters, and then you can really dive deep into this world. So I don't know. It's just me. Or don't make the world as complex as like he made it.
Well, I love
I'm laughing
Starman.
at Serenity. I didn't know there were siblings either, but I didn't read it, so that's hilarious.
And then Coffee says it's in the first issue, easy to miss. There's so much going on. Yeah, for sure. And that's, I think, a big point. And one of my favorite titles like ever is Scott Snyder's American Vampire, and I feel like that was a series that really was able to balance this really complex plot of vampires in American history. But always kept it with Pearl. She was always the main character, even if they focused on other characters. She was always like the driving force. So like not to have a main character here, I think is also a struggle for this book. Is like, who is the lead?
Who is the main character? Yeah.
I think it's going to be the sister. That's what I'm thinking, but yeah, we don't know yet. You're right.
I think from the first issue, because she was the first person we saw, I'm like, okay, guess it's her. But we don't know. And that's also like, isn't that, I don't want to say writing 101 because there are technically no rules for writing, but I think, a lot of times you do go into a book or you write something and you're like, okay, who's my main character?
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah.
All right. So there's our Undiscovered Country. That was a good conversation, though. I like that. All right. So let's move on to our number 3. My number 3 this week was the book we already talked about, and it's actually Superman issue 18. So I enjoyed that one. All right. And so, Chris, what's your number 3 this week?
We already talked about it. X-Force.
X-Force. Kat, I know X-Force is your number 3 as well. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Number 1.
For sure. Yeah, it's actually my number affinity. I loved it to death. But yeah, mine is Red Mother issue 1. This is a book I was really looking forward to last week, and damn did this thing deliver. So we have the first part of the issue is this regular girl. Her name's Daisy, and she's going out with her boyfriend. They have a good relationship, and they...
Can I say one thing real quick? Her boyfriend's name is Luke. Her name is Daisy. That weirded me out.
That's a little strange. I'm sure it was on purpose too. But yeah, so Luke, he ends up getting kind of kidnapped. I guess we think we don't know what happened to him. Like he disappears and she wakes up without an eye. So that's how it starts. And then, I love this book because it dealt with her PTSD. Instead of talking about the opposite Undiscovered Country, character came first. We understand Daisy, her struggles. She had a normal life. She was happy. And then this traumatic event happened and she's not happy. She's, looks like she's going to be hooked on painkillers. But she's still trying. It's a book where she's like, I'm going to therapy. I'm really trying. So it's like kind of interesting to see this character because usually like these type of characters would be like, all right, well, I'm an alcoholic, like a Jessica Jones type character, right? They kind of like revel in that. But she's like, no, I like want to get better. And now she's seeing visions with her new eye. And that's like the story begins. And it's just so really good pacing. I loved it.
I did too.
Yeah, it reminded me of that Jessica Alba movie that was not good.
Oh, the eye?
Yeah, exactly, right? But yeah, no, it was. I love the art in this book too. It's really gorgeous art. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's interesting the path she's going down, and she's dealing with both. It seems like literal and metaphorical demons in her life. So it's interesting the way it's balancing the two. And, is she going crazy kind of thing? So I like that aspect of it as well.
You don't know if it's psychedelic, like a supernatural thing, or if it's just like a schizophrenia thing or, post-traumatic thing. Like, you don't know if there's any of those things, but it's so weird because it's like she saw red. She sees this skeletal figure, in the distance, and then it looks like it attacks her somehow. And then she starts bleeding from that eye, and you're just like, oh my God, that's wild. But I loved her story.
Yeah. And then
You
there's
know?
the whole thing with the cop obviously thinking that her boyfriend did it to her, and it's like, is this just PTSD? Like I was talking about, she doesn't remember that her boyfriend attacked her, which would be weird. Yeah,
that's a good question though. Is like, is she a reliable narrator as well?
Right.
Is her life too perfect? Because it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like the beginning of her life, she has a good job, she has a good boyfriend, she has a best friend, she's like doing all this stuff. Like maybe it's a little bit too good to be true.
Yeah.
So, but that's cool about this book is that you could keep like kind of rethinking about it. And it's like, honestly, it's just like one of the best first issues I've read in a really long time. At least just the way to do a first issue, I would say.
Yeah. That's what I liked about it. So yeah, that goes back to kind of like, I know Undiscovered Country is like a different aspect, a different type of book, but it's just like maybe with Undiscovered Country, you dealt with one of or two characters instead of like all 6 characters that they had, This one you dealt with like, I guess you want to say maybe 3 characters. You dealt with the boyfriend who got murdered. Daisy right away is that main character. And then you got her best friend that she deals with, So, but yeah, this was just such a good book. And I love seeing her deal with that, aftermath and getting back on track, like you said, Kat. So that was great. It was a really good book, and I'm happy you mentioned it that the day before, last week, and I checked on the shelves and it happened to be there, and I'm like, I want to buy this because Kat said it got good reviews already. I'm happy that it did.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like eye patch, like that's what sold me. I'm like, that's cool.
All right, so that was your number 3, right?
Okay. Yes, that was my number
3. Right, Chris, did you go?
Yeah, you did X-Force. Brant left his in the chat. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's TMNT issue 100.
Okay, so we talked about that. All right, great. Next, we're gonna talk about Hellmouth issue 3.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, there's still not much to say about this book.
It was there.
Right? It's just like, I like the idea that Buffy finally knows that Angel is a vampire, I guess, but it's really slow. I don't think this story needed to happen right now. And that's it, really, for Hellmouth. Really? Yeah, it's just like, it's just there.
Chris, did you read it or no?
No.
No, you're like, no, absolutely not.
I'm behind big time.
Yeah, you don't have to read that one. If you want to read the ongoing titles, you can. They don't really connect too much, but yeah, this one I don't feel like it's desperate.
I like Dark Horse's Buffy and Angel a little bit better, but again, this is new, so it might need some growing time.
I like this one more just because I'm able to, like, Dark Horse books went way off the handle. Like they did
towards the end. They did. They got low on my list.
Yeah, it just got really hard to catch up with. This like feels like the reasons why we like Buffy are here. Like they're not continuing the story, they're just reinventing it. And I think that's cool. I just don't know if they've really hit the nail on the head on all of them.
All right. So next we're going to talk about Annihilation Scourge. This is the Silver Surfer issue 1. This is also a one shot leading into the Annihilation Scourge finale. That's coming out, I think, this week. And so this issue was pretty good because it kind of continues. If you read Silver Surfer Black, it ties into that. And we get to see how Silver Surfer is now that he is completely black. He's basically, it's like he's almost died. He's like a ghost. So he can't physically touch anybody. And his power now is basically, he's like a dead man. He can go into people and he can kind of possess them, use them, and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. But yet he could still use his cosmic powers when he's not possessing somebody. So it's quite interesting. And he deals with the Sentry and stuff like that. So I don't want to go on and on about it because I know you guys probably didn't read it, but it was pretty good. And I liked how, again, they tied into the Silver Surfer Black storyline. And so this is the status quo for Silver Surfer right now. He is truly black and he can't touch people. So quite interesting. So, all right. So then we'll go on to our number 2. And And my number 2 was a book we just talked about, was the Red Mother book. So that was my number 2. And so, Chris, what's yours?
My number 2 was my Under the Radar, the Dollhouse Family, issue number 2.
All right. And Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Hack and Slash. We already talked about it.
Oh, sweet. All right. So next, what we're going to talk about is Tales from the Dark Multiverse Judas Contract. I didn't get a chance to read this one. Kat, Chris, did you guys read this?
This went off the handle fast.
Yeah. This is
It's not good.
Top 5. No.
I don't know. This
No.
is worse.
It's basically what if Tara went absolutely ape shit crazy.
But she kind of already did. I mean, like she went a little apeshit crazy in the original.
She did, but she killed everyone in this dark version, and we never got Nightwing. Dick died before he became Nightwing completely. Everybody died. She killed Superman, which it was just insane. It was insane. It was like a kill fest book.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
right.
It's just what everything is wrong with this whole entire.
Yeah, at that moment when I finished that book, I was like, wow, everything Kat said, I feel after reading this book.
And it's so expensive and it's so long when you have 20 books to read. I'm like, when's this?
I started at one point. I was like, okay, I just want to get through this book. I started just page turning. I was like, yeah, she's killing this person. Great. Oh, Superman's dead. Oh, now we're in like this Dragon Age where she's like, okay, whatever. Bye.
Yeah, I'm
so
so
it didn't
glad
basically live up to your guys' hype of
No.
this particular book.
I didn't even have a hype for it. So
Well, you
Like
said
any of the dark.
No,
multiverse.
but you
I like
did
two
say
books.
you were looking forward to this one the most because of
originally, yeah, I remember that. But after
Yep.
reading Death of Superman, I was just like, never mind.
Oh, thank you, Deanne. She was always crazy, but not successful. So now she was.
Yeah, she's a successful, crazy hero or villain, whatever she is.
Grant comes back as we're talking about
Terra.
Dick dying before becoming Nightwing. Blasphemy.
Oh, you must be talking about Judas Contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't read it.
What was your number 2, by the way, Brent? We went through our number 2s.
My number 2 was real quick, if I could just talk about Silver Surfer. That was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, we just talked about we were talking about that just now.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. Just I thought it was cool because I didn't read the Silver Surfer Black, and I didn't know he was like what do you call it, intangible. I thought that was interesting, and the meshing of him and Sentry was weird.
Yeah,
yeah. And then Hellmouth I thought was a better issue this time around. You didn't, Kat?
No, I said it was the same stuff we've been kind of getting, in my opinion.
I like that she finally figured out that Angel was a demon. So
that's the part I said I liked. It's like,
Okay.
oh, it's cool that Angel, like she found that out, but everything else is just, why is this event happening?
Gotcha. So my number 2, you asked, or what? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 days.
Oh, okay.
7 days, number 3. I like the fact that they realized that these teenagers, including Quincredible, which is my favorite character of this universe, were able to take out some of these Obsidian men, and they go and grab them and kind of use their logic to defeat them. And it's interesting that it was this kid. What was his name? Cosmosis, I think is his superhero name, but he's I can't remember I think he was born with Down syndrome, and he's the one that figured out how they were thinking and how to defeat them. And I thought that was really cool, just the way that all came together, and they used that. And I like that they're even though this is a fairly new universe, and you're not, at least I'm not invested in all the characters yet, that I'm getting to know each one of these characters just a little bit, even through this main series, and it's getting me interested in their backstories, at least some of them, to go check it out, like in trade, because I know some of them have been out for a while. But I love the way the story is progressing, and the urgency again. I love the urgency here because they got literally 7 days to live, and they're trying to figure out how to defeat these creatures and what their
Brant
purpose.
just likes urgency.
I do. I love urgency. I guess. But yeah, that's it.
So Brant, to let you know, with Silver Surfer Black, I didn't know that he couldn't touch things either until this particular issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so because he he just turned black basically at the end of that series.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that obviously, I guess he was going to stay black and everything else. And now you're getting to learn his kind of like his power set from this point forward.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My one concern with all this, and I think we're going to talk about Beta Ray as well.
Only you marked it down. So if you want to talk about Beta
okay.
Ray.
Okay. Yeah, it was okay. This one was actually a little stronger, I thought. But my only concern with it is you got this whole story that's just going to end like next week, and it's just wrapped up.
I know.
And it's like, what was the point of it too? Yeah. So same thing with 2099.
Yeah,
That's
it's just like they have all these issues, and what are they all going to come together and defeat this void? You know what I'm saying? Because that's all it seems like it's going to be.
Yeah, it feels like this should be a much more epic story than it is. So
right, especially when you got the first one, the first Annihilation, where it was this grand, epic, cosmic story. This is like, here's a shot, here's a one shot, here's a one shot. Oh, and then you got the end. Okay, it's done.
And it's like the whole Cancerverse arc too was bigger than this. It wasn't as big as Annihilation, but it was definitely bigger and had a bigger, more threatening feel to it than this. And now as you combine these two things, and it's like, oh yeah, it's over in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
sure.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, they made it sound like it was a bigger deal than it actually is, and I don't like that so much.
I agree.
You know. All right, so let's see. The next book we are talking about is the other 2099 book this week, Doom, issue 1. So Doom is basically, he goes basically in a time loop, doesn't he? Is that what kind of like you get out of it by the time you get to the end?
Yeah, that has to be what it is. But I think, given what happened at the end of the issue, I think either. I was confused, like, did he merge with Reed, or is this Reed?
I couldn't make it out. It kind of threw me for a loop at the end, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like, well, this one's better than Spider-Man 2099, but it's still not that good.
No, it's like it was just a typical Doom story up until the end, where then you flash back to that panel where he defeated her, and you see that his arms stretching, and then when he falls out of the building, his arms are all over the place. And it's like, oh, well, what happened here? Because Reed's speaking to him, throughout the issue in his mind. So then it makes you question, like, man, is this Reed Richards?
Reed? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that I thought that was an interesting twist, and that's what I was referring to earlier. That it's the only thing that made me like, kind of wish this was continuing on so I could see where that was going.
Right.
Because, man, wouldn't that be some irony there?
Yeah, absolutely. I just felt like it's just like, and what happened at the end, he merged and then he kind of relives everything over and over again. So I don't know. But why would you care? Because it doesn't look like it's going to freaking continue. So whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Doesn't even matter. It's all going away.
Mestro Cronus on Twitch is telling me that it wasn't Down syndrome in 7 days. I thought they said it was Downs. He's saying it was autism or Asperger's. I thought that he said he was born with Downs, but either way, it was still cool. Highlighting the character, and he was the one that came up with the solution. So,
okay. So last but not least, we go on to our number one comic before we move on to the chopping block. And my book was a book we already talked about, and that is The Dollhouse Family issue 2. Definitely a great read, a great horror book, and I love it, man. So good. So we'll move on to Kat. What was your number one?
Mine was Jane Foster. We already talked about it.
All right. Chris.
Do we really have to ask what mine is?
Of course.
It was Superman.
Yeah, Mike. In a parallel universe where Superman's actually good. No, it was TMNT 100.
TMNT.
Yes, sir.
And Brant.
Mine was actually Undiscovered Country.
Wow. Nice.
Oh my God.
I
wow,
know.
That's insane.
That
Holy
was a twist.
crap. That is definitely a twist. Well, I'm glad you like it. So hopefully it continues to be good for you.
Yeah, I hope so, because I didn't think I would like this book at all. So it's kind of funny.
All right. So now I'm going to pass it on to Chris. We only got one chopping block book that we're going to talk about, though.
Yeah, we only have one chop. So who's chopping? As a matter of fact, since we only have one chop, who's chopping and who's chopping?
And it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's Undiscovered Country, and I think me and I'm half chopping it. I'm gonna probably give it one more issue depending on the week. If it's a freaking 20-issue week, that's being dropped. But if it's like my normal week,
I might give it another try because this is a book that I've really wanted to like, and I've been disappointed with it. But I might give it another issue, maybe even 2. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, so we're giving it one more try for you, possibly, Brad.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, when you look at all the books that came out for this particular week, I mean, you're not going to be reading them again. There were so many one-shots.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. But there was also like a lot of new issues that came out too, because then you had like Red Mother, and obviously a lot of us are going to be keeping that on our pull list. So
that's true.
Superman might be back on our pull list. So
yeah, that was my thing when I was trying to figure out, do I have a chopping block? Is like a lot of these are done. So what's I didn't really. I could have said
2009 would have been.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Good. Friendly Neighborhood would have been good.
Yeah, I thought about saying New Mutants just because I didn't get it this week, but it's like I didn't really drop it. It's just
you just didn't pick up the best issue of the series
thus
far.
That's
So
is what it is.
Those are all the chops. So I guess we're going to Brent now for the key issues and comics we're looking forward to coming out next week.
Yeah, all the books we're not going to talk about because we don't have a show.
Show for the next 2 weeks, by the way.
Yeah, no show because Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. But man, there's so many books coming out. Let's start with Batman. It's the final issue of City of Bane,
It's
right?
the last issue.
Yeah,
It's only taken a year and a half.
The epic conclusion. I think it's like 60 pages or 40 pages.
But kind of. Tom King's not even done. He's like, this is like not middle, but he still has the Catwoman and Batman books. So I don't even feel like this counts.
yeah.
Well, let him write Batman and Catwoman. At least he's not on the main title anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see. We're really excited.
I can't wait.
It's so funny how excited we were at the first half of this run, man. It's just
It was
sad.
too long. There was a lot of fat that could have been taken out and a lot of poetry that didn't need to be
Oh
there.
man, our poetry.
You know what, though? Guys, I'll point this out to you. I try not to do this too often, but I realized the repetition very early on in this series.
Mike. You disliked this before we did.
You hated it before it was cool to hate it.
With the Catwoman writing a letter to Batman. I was like,
Yeah.
we've seen this already. And it was only like 10 issues in. I'm
Right.
like, the pacing could be better on this. And it continued all the way through.
Yeah, no, it just got worse and worse and worse, that book. I mean, again, I know people enjoy it, but this is just our opinion.
Yeah. Here on this show, we just did not care for it. Yeah. It was a very slow burn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be over. And speaking of things that'll finally be over, Doomsday Clock number 12. People have been talking about it all night.
I'm not even excited.
I'm not either.
No one's going to care. Everybody's going to be like, okay.
When I was going through the books, I was like, oh, Doomsday Clock. Oh, it's the last issue. Okay.
Like, hey.
Goddamn time.
If there was a fresh issue coming out after that was like a surprise saying the ramifications of Doomsday Clock is here, maybe I'd feel a little differently, but it seems like the books are being affected by it.
They're moving on. That's it. They're continuing forward. So it's like either it's an Elseworld tale or the ramifications happened already.
Right, exactly. And that's it killed the whole momentum of it. And it's like at this point, even though I have continued to read it, I still don't remember what happened last issue because it's so long between issues.
I think Superman and Doomsday Clock. Dr. Manhattan fought.
Oh, the square up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's just man.
I just think the original intentions was to affect the DC universe with this whole thing, but then based off of those delays. I think that's why, again, we talked about it before, why all these stalls had happened. They were just like, oh, we're going to stall this book because of Doomsday Clock, and we're going to stop this, and we're not going to have this series because of that. And then eventually it just took so long. You can't do it. You have to keep publishing your books, you know?
Yeah. So we got You're the Villain.
Yes.
That
was such a great
best event of 2019.
Oh, fantastic.
Leviathan.
Oh, yeah. No, that too.
Which I didn't even read.
You can't even finish
Missed
that.
absolutely nothing.
What's the other villain book? Or that's in our set? Isn't that in talking about most anticipated? Or no one wants to
I
read
think
that one?
so. The Ocean Master, what came out this week, and I think only Brant wanted to talk about it. That was it.
Yeah, and that's fine. It wasn't. Yeah, it didn't need to be talked about.
Not because Brant wanted to talk about it, I took it off. For the people that don't know, usually if we try to do books that multiple people have read for the big books, so that's why it didn't end up going on the list. Because usually, if you guys want behind the scenes, I actually pick for each section a DC, Marvel, and indie book. But times things get taken off because we all didn't read it. But
same thing happens with all of the stuff, like all the news and all the key issues and everything. We do the same thing.
Yeah, or else this show would be 3 hours long.
Exactly.
But one book I did want to mention that wasn't on the list, but just because I feel like most people don't know what it is, Project Xmas is coming out, and that book is a Mark Millar. Right? Like surprise book. No one knows what it's going to be until tomorrow, which I think is freaking crazy. Like we don't even know what you're buying. That's nuts. I'm going to get it, but I don't know what I'm buying.
That's why he's doing it. People going to get it. I don't know what it is.
That's good though. That's great. I wish
it's a cool surprise.
It just goes back to like pre-internet days, like days that you go to the store and you'd be like, oh, what's coming out this week? And I being that obviously that we're all YouTubers and we all read solicits and we all try to, plan out ahead of what's coming out. There's no real surprise anymore. But that was one of the great surprises in the early days of comics was that, you go to the shop and you're like, dude, that's out. Oh, that's out. You're like, I'm buying this. I'm getting that, Yeah. So the element of surprise.
Yeah. It's why I appreciated that Kirkman book. What was it? Die. That came, like nobody knew was coming out at all,
and then no one bought it though. And that's the thing too.
That's the counter to it, But so cool. Let's see another book that's ending. I think it's the last issue of Donny Cates' run on Guardians, right? Issue 12.
Yeah,
I believe so,
yeah, that's the ending. Yep.
Yeah. So we finally, hopefully, maybe find out the fate of Rocket Raccoon. See if he's
not dying. Yeah, because on solicits he's still like you see him on a cover. Yeah. So I wonder what happens to him, like why he gets better again. You
can't kill Rocket Raccoon. He's one of the best characters in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and there's these movies.
There's kill movies, and they're kind of popular, and he's one of the popular characters. So yeah.
So there's a book Kat was wanting to talk about, Infected, the Commissioner. There's another a villain storyline going on, Infected.
I mean, I just want to see where this goes, but I hope it's not as bad as the John Troy issue. I'm rooting for this one.
The past two were bad. The Beetle and that Donna Troy. So after those two, I'm like, I'm not picking
this. This is gonna be the good one too. Just watch.
Watch it be the good one.
Yeah, because none of them have been to me.
No.
Let's see. We got X-Force number 4, which we kind of already talked about what's going on in that book earlier. I can't believe it's already coming out again. It
literally came out this week.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like I bet that was one that was supposed to come out next.
For sure.
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 46, which we didn't talk about you guys didn't mention the Dark Rangers stuff.
We did a little.
Oh, did you? When maybe I was away.
So it's going to be interesting to see where the Blue Ranger or the Blue Omega Ranger goes now, since she's turned and Zed is locked away. Will she free Zed? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. We got He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse issue 2.
I love the first one. Did anybody here read it? They had the movie, man.
I read it. I don't think I didn't love it, but I was enough to try to give me an issue 2 because I want to see where that whole direction goes with Skeletor obviously being good in this series and trying to stop the He-Man from collecting the power swords and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool.
I haven't read it. It was a big week for me that week, so I didn't get a chance to read it, but I'm going to read it. I really liked the previous miniseries they did.
Brent, did you watch the movie, the He-Man movie?
Did I watch it?
Yeah. The one from way back in the
Lundgren one?
Which one? I'm sorry?
Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's he's a big part of the the multiverse.
Oh, really? Oh, I gotta read it now for sure. Yeah,
It's so funny how he's actually a huge part of it.
we actually, me and my cousin, we lived together at the time, and we rented that movie in the summer, and we like watched it over and over again. As bad as it is, we still.
You know that machine thingy they had? That's how they travel.
Yeah, I hated that movie because they replaced Orko with that weird dude that ate the chicken.
Yeah, the weird dude that ate the chicken's the one getting them all together.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I've got to totally read this now. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. All right, Wonder Woman: Dead Earth #1. Mike wanted to talk about that one.
Yeah, that book I'm excited about because that's the same writer who wrote Murder Falcon. And that series came. So, and I think he wrote it and he did the artwork for it. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% sure, but either way, it'd be the same writer, same artist. But that's why I'm excited about this because I thought he wrote a great story when it came to Murder Falcon. People who did read it did enjoy it. I think that was really an under radar series. So it's like, I want to let people know that this book is going to be out there. And this is something that you might want to check out is DC Black Label book. So it's an Elseworld story. So yeah, give it a shot.
Excuse me. Let's see. We've got the penultimate issue of Once and Future. It's
already. Oh man, it's already ending that book.
Yeah, it's just a 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's I think I may be an issue behind. I
am too.
Yeah,
I am too. So I'm going to read those 2 issues back to back when they come out.
Same, but it's been such a good series. It's just a unique take on the whole Arthurian legends.
Mm-hmm.
I love the direction it's gone, and just gorgeous art and those Dan Moore covers. Always gotta love those. And then we got the new Suicide Squad book coming out.
Yeah, Tom Taylor. I mean, Tom Taylor knows how to write Harley, so I'm just game for that.
Yeah, I'm on for that. I just hope that like it's not heavily focused on Harley and it gets to focus on more of the other characters. Maybe Harley's there for those first couple issues to kind of draw readers in, but then hopefully the people will fall for the other characters and not just rely on Harley because it's just, again, it's like DC relies too much on like the Bat family to sell their books. And we need to come out with other books besides Batman and Harley. I get they're your cash cows and you're going to make those books, but don't make every single book with Harley in it. I mean, we got enough of them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a ton. But yeah, knowing Tom Taylor, I think it'll be a well-versed book.
Yeah.
And same creative team as Injustice, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Metro Corona says he's picking up Harley #3. Just throwing that in there. And let's see. The last book we have is Claw's Life and Times of Joe Christmas. This is, I always love these books. And speaking of Dan Moore again, just gorgeous art. But this one's different in that it's calendar inspired. So you're getting 25 short stories in this one.
That's going to be interesting.
Like an Advent.
Yeah, exactly. So,
do you get a piece of chocolate after?
Yes, Morrison sticks a piece of chocolate in every issue.
Yeah, it's a little messy, but it's worth it.
Yeah. It is definitely worth it.
He melts the chocolate into the printer ink, so
there you go. Yeah.
Look and taste the chocolate.
You can eat your comic after you get to read.
There you go.
I'll buy that if I'm getting some free chocolate. I'll get that book.
But I recommend them. They're always fun. I love that they do them every year now. It's kind of this holiday event. So, but that's it. That's it for kid issues. So.
We do have a question from Tevia. What about Shazam? I think most of us exactly. I think most of us are just like it's there. You know, not many of us are picking it up. I'm picking it up. I think I know Mike dropped it, so it's just that's why we didn't mention it. It's mostly books we're actually like looking forward to.
Yeah, these are the books we're excited about.
Yeah.
So that's the end of this episode, and that is the end of Comic Book Weekly for 2019. I'm sure everybody will want to say something before we close out this show, so I'm just going to go around in a circle completely. I'm going to start with Kat, and I'm going to go all the way around, and then I'll just close out the show. So, Kat.
Well, yeah, first of all, happy holidays to everybody. We're excited for a break, and I'm sure you guys are too, for whatever you guys have been doing. And then for me, I have my top 10 comics of the decade video that's up. So definitely go check that out if you haven't. And then coming up, I'm going to have a top 10 comics of the year, as I always do. And then top 10 most anticipated comics of the for the next coming year as well. So those are going to be my big videos. And then I'm going to try to keep consistent with Comic Uno episode, even though it's the holidays. I'll still try posting videos for that. I think I should be able to. So that's
all right, Brent.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say except for I do. We have a new Chris and Brant show coming this Friday live, so join us right here on Comic Frontline, and on Twitch. We'll be on Twitch as well. So we're going to be talking some of the comics that come out this week. We're going to be talking more about Superman, video games, wrestling, and Pop-Tart cereal. We're going to taste test Pop-Tart cereal on the show, so it's going to be fun.
I regret that Sour Patch.
I do too. I haven't touched it since.
No, neither have I. Even Tommy won't touch it dry, so that says something. All right, Mike.
All right, yeah, guys. I just want to say happy holidays. Thank you for sticking with us for the entire year. Welcome all the new viewers that have come on the show, especially in the last few weeks, and going through our process, how we changed from Frontline Live to Comic Book Weekly, and just dealing with our changes. You guys are great. The show doesn't work without any of you, and we want to continue growing this show. We need your help. We need you guys to share this video, let other people know that we exist out there. We really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And when it comes to my channel, I'm going to be on a little bit of a lightened schedule as well because of the holidays. So you might see a comic book haul. You might see a couple videos here and there, but yeah, probably next 2 weeks we're gonna be taking it easy. So we
all need a break, right? We all need a little bit of a break.
Exactly. And then on my channel, I started I restarted a series called Grading the Trade, where I take a comic book trade and I break it down for you, and then I give it a grade at the end of the day. So a lot of fun. Go check it out. It has to focus with Gideon Falls, so first trade paperback, and that's all I have. So happy holidays to the Frontline fans out there.
Yeah, and I'll just echo what everybody else said. Happy holidays to everybody. We'll miss you for the 2 weeks we're off. As far as my channels go, for Dark Avenger, I think I'm going to let the rest of the year ride out. A lot of things have changed now working solo. I do have a couple of videos that might go up on the main channel, a couple of written things that'll be going up on the .com. Don't forget to check out shootingstaruniverse.com for all that content that comes out from me. I'll be doing a couple of probably Christmas streams over on Twitch on Dark Avenger Gaming. Otherwise, I'm just going to let the rest of the year ride out for myself as well. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a happy new comic book day today. It's 12 midnight on the East Coast. Brent has another half hour, so for Brant, it'll be 30 minutes from now, and anybody who's not on the East Coast, it'll be in a couple hours. So hope you have a good comic book day next week as well, and we'll see you all in the new year. Don't forget, over in Brant's box this week, to subscribe, Cat's box. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss out on a single video. Don't forget to, I'll have to go this way. Don't forget to like the video, to tell YouTube you love this video, and then Mike Spider Slayer has all of the social media for Comic Frontline. And then to go a little bit further than that, I am going to click this button, and don't forget to follow all of our, Mike's, okay, there we go. And don't forget to follow all of our personal social medias. Till next time, till next year, take care, everybody, and have a wonderful holiday.
Enjoy that Krakoa like usually, everybody.